Hello Stitchy friends, welcome to my channel. It's been a minute, long time no see. That hasn't been on purpose, but we'll get to that a little bit later in the video. Welcome back to all my returning viewers, and a special welcome to anyone who this is your first time visiting my channel. Thank you for stopping by. I think I'm going to take this off. It's giving me a headache, but welcome on this autumn day in 2018. Today is Sunday, October 28th. So here, let's just, oh, bad hat there. We're just going to go with it. All right. What are we going to talk about today? Well, I'm going to give a little bit of a life update, and we're going to talk about some whips and stitchy stuff. Also going to talk about the Midwest Cross Stitchers retreat that I just recently had the pleasure of going to. Talk a little bit about my plans for the rest of the year and maybe 2019 plans. I'm going to show some of my additions to my stitching collection, and at the very end I will also talk about a new venture that I am beginning that involves some making things and selling things, but we will leave that to the end in case you're not interested, and it'll be an easy place to cut off the video. So let's get started. Life update. Well, like I mentioned, it's been a while, and that was not on purpose. It's just been one difficult year at work. And by the time I got home, I just didn't have the energy. And, you know, lighting and all that good stuff. I was also doing retreat prep. I did participate in the Smalls Exchange, so I did get that stitching done. But apart from that stitching, I did not stitch the entire month of September or October, except for my Smalls Exchange until retreat and return from retreat. I've been stitching since then. And then just again, work. As some of you may know, I work with special needs students, and it's been a challenging year. So hopefully, you know, we've passed the 2.5 month mark. We're starting to settle in, and it will get better. It will get better. What else? I'll talk about what else after I talk about my whips. Because I haven't been stitching a lot, I thought what I would do would be to show you kind of my Halloween whips and what I have been stitching on since I returned from retreat. Did not get much stitching done at retreat, but that's okay. So the first one that I want to share with you is actually my very oldest whip, and it is by the Primitive Hare. And back in 2014, she did a stitch along called Early Witches, and it was a mystery, so you didn't know what it was going to be. She gave a few sneak peeks, but really not that much. And I'm sad to say I kind of lost momentum on it, and I cannot show you a finished photo. If I can find one online, I will insert it here, but if not, this is all you get. I did start this in June 2014 and pretty much have not worked on it at all since then. And it's just not because I don't like it, but because other bright shiny things have caught my eye. So this is as far as I've gotten. And sorry for the wrinkles. I don't recall what fabric this is. It was kind of a mystery fabric out of my stash, but I know it's an R&R, and I do not recall the count. But I am stitching 2/2 with the call for DMC. So I am going to put these away in my project bags as we go along, because otherwise we're going to have a big huge mess at the end of this. Okay, my next one that I would like to show you is one that I have been stitching on. I stitched on it a little bit at retreat and have continued stitching on it since I've returned home. And this is 3 Black-Eyed Susans by Brenda Gervais. I started this in May of 2018 for Stitch Mania. And it's stitched on 40 count Cocoa, which I believe is by Weeks Dye Works. And this is where I am. The leaves are kind of hard to see on this, but I'll get a close up. Let me see what you can see. And I am stitching this 1/2 with the call for Gentle Arts and Weeks Dye Works threads. It's a cute one. I think when I started this earlier this month, started back on it, I just had the face, this portion here of the dress, and a part of the hat. So I have this week put in all the leaves and continued down with the dress. Enjoying that one very much. Of course, I love Brenda Gervais, so what's not to enjoy? Then my next Halloween-ish type whip is by Kindred Spirits. I mean, it's by the Primitive Needle, called Kindred Spirits. This is what it will look like when it is finished. I started this also as a Mania piece in 2017. And I'm stitching this on 40 count, picture this plus doubloon, with the call for Belsoise silks, and this is my measly little start. I think Trisha at 3L Threads has completed this, and it's so cute. I love it. So I have a lot of catching up to do with Trisha. The needle minders, I believe, that I've shown on all of these have been from A Flair for Buttons on Etsy. Okay, next in the lineup is Potions, Brews, and Spells. It is from the 2016 Halloween collection. And this was also a 2017 Mania start. This is what it will look like when finished. It's a long one. I am stitching this one on 36 count hand-dyed fiber by Vicki Clayton. I took it and added some color to it, and I'm using the call for Gloriana silk in aubergine ugh, aubergine color, or aubergine, who knows. I did stitch on this during the retreat. I got the TI and part of the other O completed. I already knew this, but I verified the fact that I like to talk more than I like to stitch. All right, and last but not least is my Jenny Bean Halloween sampler by Shakespeare's Peddler. This is what it will look like when finished. And this is where I am at the moment. This is stitched on 40 count linen, 1/2, hand dyed by me. And I started this on the 13th of October 2017, and I'm using the Call for limited edition threads by Gentle Arts. I love this piece and I cannot wait to finish it. I just have the remainder of the border, the remaining 3 sides to finish, and then I can frame it. So that has been pretty much my interest this past 2 weeks, and will continue to be what I stitch on for the remainder of the month, and maybe a little bit into November. We'll see. So that brings us to the Midwest Cross Stitchers Retreat. I struggled with what I wanted to talk about that here today, because I know many people have made videos already about the retreat. So this may be a repeat of what you've already seen and heard, but for some of you it may not. You know, there's so many of us who make videos and so many of us who watch videos that maybe some of you have not watched any videos about the retreat. So I thought I would go ahead and share a bit about that. Maybe not as extensive as some others have done, but let me just say, it was everything I hoped for and more. And I can't thank Michelle Rudy, Farm Girl Stitcher, here on YouTube, enough for all the hard work and love that she put into this retreat. And I know that she has done the same for her past retreats, and she will do the same for future retreats. It was just like nothing else I've ever experienced. This was only my second ever in my life stitching retreat. As a matter of fact, the only other retreat that I had been to was back in 1997 in Cloudcroft, New Mexico, put on by the Counted Thread out of El Paso, Texas. So in all honesty, I don't have a lot to compare it to, but I have a feeling that anyone who does retreats has some big shoes to fill with this, because Michelle just went above and beyond. The conference center, called the Oak Ridge Conference Center, was fabulous. My room was wonderful. The food was out of this world. You pretty much wanted for nothing. We were fed 3 wonderful meals and had snacks in between. So, and drinks were there for the taking at any time during the day, basically. So it was just wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. What made it even more so were the attendees. I met some of the most wonderful people, which I knew I would. But like I said, it exceeded every expectation that I had. And I'm not gonna list off people because I know me and I know I will forget someone, and I don't want to hurt feelings about that. But let me just say, we are real people, and every single person that I met that I have watched on FlossTube or interacted with through messages they were exactly as I expected them to be, in that they were real. They came across just like they do in their videos. I just feel blessed to have been a part of this. So I arrived on Friday around 5 p.m. I got a much later start than I anticipated, but you know, it is what it is. And I was welcomed with open arms when I did arrive, and I got my table spot and sat down and started visiting right away. Friday evening, I got there in time for dinner, and then after that it was just a lot of visiting and a little bit of stitching. And I think, was it Friday evening, we did the smalls exchange. And I think maybe I might have hurt some feelings, and that was not my intention. How the smalls exchange worked if you wanted to participate, is you brought a small, and they all went on a table, and then you were given a ticket for your name to be called, and then the second part of that ticket went into a bucket, so that, you know, pull the tickets out of the bucket, and that's who goes first, second, and so on. Some of those tickets had X's on the back, and if you had an X on the back of your ticket pulled out of the bucket, you could steal from anyone else. And I was one of the, I would say, the last 10 to be drawn to go choose my gift. And they're all wrapped up, so you don't know what they are. And I had been eyeing this particular bag, thinking, okay, I want that one, I want that one. And as it happened, the person that went before me chose that bag. And I'm like, oh man, oh well, you know, I'll pick something else. But then when my ticket was drawn out of the bucket, it had an X on it. And I don't think anyone else up to that point had stolen from someone else. And I wasn't going to steal this one. But when I walked up there and I really got a good look at what it was, I'm like, I have to have it. So I think I was one of the only people in the entire room who was a thief. But you will see why. My small was from Carol, the Saltbox Stitcher, and this is what it was. How gorgeous is that? I have seen this pattern stitched up before and wanted to stitch it forever. And she signed it. But that's not all. It also came with this beautiful project bag. The same backing fabric that's on the small is what she used for the project bag. So thank you, Carol. I love it. I will cherish it forever and ever and ever. And now that I've shown you, I can put it back here on my display. What I made for my Smalls Exchange was this piece by Stacy Nash Primitives, and it is called House on Pumpkin Hill. I stitched mine 1/1 on a 36 or 40 count, and the lovely Tara Sullivan received my small, and I will insert a photo here of my finish of this. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to show you, I really should put this up here. Sorry for the twinkling. The lovely Cave Dunlap, I call her Kay from Kansas City, put together a kit for us, for everyone at the retreat. And it included a pattern from Nancy Spruce. Nancy, I'm sorry, I cannot read. Nancy Spruance. And I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, but it involved this cookie cutter and a small pattern that you stitch on the perforated paper, and you suspend the little leaf on the perforated paper from holes that she drilled up here in the top of the cookie cutter. It's gorgeous. I think Pam of Just Keep Stitching has already stitched hers, so you can see a finished item there. But Kay, that was just wonderful that you thought to bring something for everyone in the room, so thank you. I received some other gifts from people, and I'm not going to show those, but I just want to say thank you. You know who you are. I appreciate your kindness, and we'll cherish those gifts. Thank you. We also received what I'm going to call our goodie bags, and there's wonderful things in those. I will quickly go over what came in them. First, by Cindy Lou Who Stitches, we got this pattern, Little Fall Fling, so cute. From Raise the Roof Designs, Spooky Fence. From Twin Peak Primitives, Halloween Truck. From Jen's Stitching Niche, we got some limited edition threads, a needle minder, and some yummy candy that I have held off on eating, but I will now. We also received from You and I and Friends Black Sheep Redo book that has several patterns. I'm excited to stitch this. Diddly Deadly Designs included a percentage off from things from her shop. And then Faraway Designs gave us this beautiful needle minder. And then last but not least, from the wonderful Teresa Vanette, Kitten Stitcher, Shakespeare's Peddler, she designed a piece that is a limited edition for the retreat participants called Pale Pumpkin Pincushion Stand and Scissor Fob. and it's a kit that included everything needed, as well as a needle minder that is of the design. So thank you to everyone who donated for that goodie bag. I love it all. And pretty much everyone got the same thing with maybe a few minor differences, but for the most part, it was the same. There was a Stitchy gift exchange. I chose not to participate in that this time, but I will probably participate in that next time because there were some beautiful gifts. You know, it was like stitching related things like patterns, floss, project bags, anything that you wanted to include in your gift. And I think there was like a $25 or $30 limit on it. And it was fun to see everyone do that exchange. We also had door prizes. In addition to the goodie bag, we had door prizes. And my number was one of the last ones to be called, but I feel like I got very lucky. I got to select this Dutch sampler. And it comes with the silk, the milk paint silks, and the pattern. And this was designed by Teresa Wilson of Thistle Threads. So I don't know what year that I haven't opened it. It's completely brand new and unopened, and I can't see a date of when it was designed, but I love it. We also had a raffle that was to raise funds for the Southern Pines Animal Shelter that Teresa is very involved with. And I purchased raffle tickets, and there were so many beautiful things donated. And a lot of people at my table won. I did not, but that's okay. That's perfectly okay because animals are near and dear to my heart, and I gladly gave my donation. And congratulations to all of those who won, and thank you to all of those who donated. There were some beautiful, beautiful items that were raffled off. And I think that that raffle raised around $3,300 for Southern Pines. And Teresa, just something notable to mention, said that that amount of money would feed the entire shelter for about 3 months. So happy that we could contribute to such a worthy cause. We had a freebie table. I did have a quick look at the freebie table. I found a few things that piqued my interest and left a lot behind for someone else to take, because really, I mean, do I need anything else? No. But I'll show you the 3 pieces that I did select. And the first one is from the Stitcher Hood, called Happy 4th of July. And I will probably do this in more prim colors, but I liked that. The second one is, you know, an older chart. I think this is from, my goodness, like way back. I'm not really even seeing a date, but it is by Heartstrings, and it is called The Growing Season. And again, it's a patriotic piece, and I got it especially for this guy who I would like to make into a stand-up like this. And then the last piece that I selected is from the Drawn Thread, called Real Roses. And it's a sampler. I love samplers of all kinds, and it's going to be a labor of love because it has a lot of specialty stitches, as most drawn threads do. But this is what it's called, what it looks like. And it came with the needlepoint silk to complete this. So I'm very happy with the things that I received for free, and thank you to those who donated. I added some things to the freebie table that I no longer wanted or had a desire to stitch, so it was nice to kind of switch some things out. Now, the last thing from retreat, I was fortunate enough to get to ride along with Carol and her sister Deb to Stitchville. I don't have an LNS, sadly. So I had the intent of going there and looking only at fabric and floss, because a pattern is a pattern, right? You can pick those up at any online shop. I like to support the smaller online shops, and I had intended to just put my hands all over every piece of fabric and every skein of floss. Well, I did buy some fabric. I didn't pick up a single skein of floss. Sorry for the crinkling. And I'm not going to bore you with all the pieces of fabric that I got. I got 4 pieces of fabric. Here they are. I could have stayed there forever. I could have stayed there for hours upon hours. It was amazing. But, you know, I went to the fabric, I picked out some fabric, and then shiny things caught my eye. One of them being from Sampling of Memories. LaDonna was there at the retreat, and I was sad that she didn't bring anything to sell. So while at Stitchville, I picked up this. I have admired her pieces of art from the first time I saw them, and I got to select this one, and it's beautiful, LaDonna. I will treasure that. Then something else caught my eye. Why I think I need these, I don't know, but I felt like I needed them. They're just a thing of small black pins. Then Waiting for the Harvest, Blackbird Designs. Love that. Stacy Nash, she caught my eye, and this one is called Berry Basket Sewing Tray, Pin Disc, and Strawberry Pin Keep. Another Stacy Nash that I think that I have seen before, but it's called Midnight in the Strawberry Garden. It's a threadboard and strawberry pin keep. And the photo is, it's dark, but it's beautiful. I love the White House. And on the same Stacy Nash theme, I found this and fell in love with the house. It is called Boxwood Manor Sewing Book and Thread Keep. Then I found Chessie and Me. Actually, I saw this stitched up and I could not pass it by, and it's called Pumpkin Row. And someone, I think it might have been Kay from Kansas City, stitched this as her small exchange, and seeing it in person, had to have it. Brenda Gervais, The Cat and the Moon. La-di-da, Something Wicked. And this is a book that I have put in my cart, out of my cart, in my cart, out of my cart, and I just decided, no, time to just get it in Friendship's Way, Blackbird Designs. Many beautiful pieces in here to stitch, and also by Blackbird Designs, out of the Loose Feathers collection, Agnes Platt's Strawberry Sampler. Fell in love with this one. And then they had this stitched up as a model, which will get you every time. Maybe it's a good thing I don't have an LNS because I would be broke. The Prairie Schooler, Cats, Bats, and Witches. Again, another one that I have seen a million times. But seeing the model, and the model was stitched on a dark fabric, so I think that's what I'm going to do. The model was of the smaller piece, but I love both pieces. So that was all from the regular thing. I could have spent hours and hours and hours back in the back section on the clearance items, but being that I was writing along with someone else and I was kind of on their time frame, I didn't want to say no, let's stay. So I just found this, which I have some of the others. This is by Cherrywood Design Studios, which is no longer designing. It's a two-people team, or two-designer team. And so I have chart now. The other thing that I got at retreat, I kind of did a bartering with Lori at Textilist. She bought one of my items and I bought one of hers, and we just called it Even Steven. Is this beautiful 40 count fabric called Pumpkin. Look at how gorgeous. I love it, and I cannot wait to find the perfect piece to stitch on that. Thank you, Lori, for trading with me. I am not going to hoard that piece of fabric like I typically do. I am going to use it eventually. What else did I want to talk about? At retreat, it was just wonderful. I will keep saying that over and over. So many new friends that I look forward to keeping in contact with, and thank you all for making it such a wonderful experience. I didn't get a chance to go around and talk to everyone. It wasn't for lack of wanting to. It was just you would be headed over to talk to someone and you would maybe get stopped by someone else and get involved in the conversation, and then by the time that you wanted to go talk to that original person, they were involved in a conversation with someone else, and I didn't want to interrupt. But everyone was just wonderful. There was two brag tables, beautiful work. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but it was a wonderful time. I drove there. And like I said, I was delayed Friday morning in leaving. It was unavoidable. I got there. It was about actual drive time was about 7.5 hours. So I left Sunday after lunch and was due to arrive home around 9 p.m. And I had rented a vehicle to drive. I drive an old 2005 Honda Civic that belonged to my middle child. And when I moved here in 2015, she was wanting to buy a new car because she had some plans of some places that she wanted to go and needed a more reliable car to travel about for her school. And so rather than me putting a down payment on a new car, I gave her the down payment that I had and let her get a new car. And what I drive is I'm not one of those people who it's important to have this kind of car or that kind of car. As long as it gets me from point A to point B, I'm happy. But I thought, okay, my little Honda Civic that has been great to get me around town might not feel so wonderful about driving 7.5 hours away. So I went and rented a vehicle late Thursday evening and didn't even think about the fact that the insurance that I have on my wonderful old car would not be sufficient enough for a rental vehicle. And the gentleman that rented me the car, he did say something about getting extra insurance to cover things like hail damage or blown tire. And I'm like, well, it's October. I don't think we're going to have hail, but no, you know what? I'll pass on that. Well, I had a wonderful drive to Minnesota, and I had a wonderful drive back. And I was about 30 minutes away from home, and a deer hit me to the point of disabling the car. I had to leave it on the side of the road. I called the highway patrol because I didn't know if there was debris around me. I am fine. I am so thankful that no other cars were around me at the time. I'm thankful that the deer did not come through the front windshield. It actually hit my driver's side fender and then kind of bounced back and hit the driver's side quarter panel. I feel bad for the poor little deer, but I am thankful that I wasn't hurt and no one else was around me on the road. The sad news is I called my insurance company the next morning, and because I only have liability and some other things on the 2005, my insurance is not covering the rental car. So I was pretty frustrated at myself upon realizing that I hadn't thought about that when I rented the car. And so for the first hour after finding out that it wasn't covered and I was going to be held responsible, which I get that, then I thought, you know what? It is what it is. I'm safe. I wasn't hurt. No one else was hurt. I'll deal with it. Initially, it put a little bit of a damper on my good vibe of the retreat, like I said, for about an hour. But it is what it is. I was going to make a video on Monday. I had taken the day off from work. I was going to make a video on that day, but this is, I guess I'm telling you this is why it's taken me all week to get to this point of making the video. I had a few other things to deal with. Just to do the retreat wrap up, it was great. Nothing is going to keep it from me having the wonderful memories that I had. What happened after it happened, it's life. I'm going to move on. I won't be getting a new car anytime soon like I planned, but that's life. Again, thank you, Michelle Rudy. Thank you for everyone who attended and made it such a wonderful time. And I look forward to keeping in touch with you and hopefully seeing you again at the next retreat. Okay, so what are my plans for the rest of this year and maybe 2019? I'm just going to continue on, like I mentioned earlier, with my Halloween stitching, maybe into the first part of November. Then I have to finish up my Christmas ornaments for 2018, and I'll be doing anything in my wood pile that is Christmas related. For 2019, I toyed with not having any new starts for 2019, but you know what? No. I'm going to start what I want to start. I'm going to work on what I want to work on and be happy with whatever I get finished, enjoy what I'm stitching on, and just enjoy it for the wonderful hobby that it is. Plans can change, so I might change my mind, but I did start pulling together some patterns that are calling to me, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so this is the part of the video that I'm going to talk about my new venture. If you want to stick around and find out about what that is, please do. If you're not interested, feel free to leave. And thank you for joining me today. And until next time, I wish you happy stitching. If you're sticking around, if you were at the retreat, you have seen these. You may have seen these on other people's videos because they have shared them on their videos from retreat. But I'm going to share with you right now some things that I have made and will continue to make and offer up. You all know that I love my stitching journals. This is my old one. This is my current one that is getting full up. I probably will start a new one for 2019. Let me find a place to put those. But Michelle asked for those attending the retreat if they wanted to make certain things to sell at the retreat. And one of the things that she requested was stitching journals. And I kind of waited around to see if anyone else would step up and offer that, and no one did. So finally I said, okay, I will. So I made a variety of stitching journals. I will show you some of them here. I'll just start off by saying that I'm going to start a Facebook page. Well, my son already kind of got it started, but it has no content at this moment. Over the course of the next week, I will be taking photos of what I have to offer and putting them on that Facebook page. And the Facebook page is Primitive Stitcher. I also need to calculate what shipping will be on the items. So if you see something that you're interested in here today, make a note of it and it will be on that Facebook page. I'm hoping by next weekend to have this taken care of. All right, stitching journals. They are all basically the same. They have on the inside. I will show you. This is what one looks like. They have different covers. They may have a different charm. I think right now the charms that are on are needles and these little stork scissors. I do have some creepy Victorian type hands that I put on some of them, but all of the ones that had the hand on them sold at the retreat. The insides are all basically the same. It comes with this little clip to open it up. All of these are handmade by me completely. So this is the front, and the front will always have a decorative piece on it, wraps around to the back. You open it up and there's decorative paper on the inside of the covers. Like I said, they will all be the same on the inside. The only difference, some come with this parchment colored paper and some have just basic white paper. But the inside is the same. It has the same number of pages. It has the same designs. But this is what the page looks like. Chart title, designer, fabric used, fibers used, miscellaneous information like maybe where you bought the item or if it was a gift for someone. Then we have a start date and a completion date. There are some pages that are blank, and you can certainly write in things. I left some blank, like in case you wanted to include photos or any other type of ephemera from fabric, you know, tags or that type of thing. Business cards that you receive. I put all kinds of things in my stitchy journal, not just the details of the stitching. Also, in these journals, you will receive 2 clips. The clips will vary from journal to journal, and they will vary in design by what I can source. Also in the journal, you will receive this. I call it a pencil board. And what I use it for is to place behind the sheet of paper that I'm writing on in the book to give you a little bit more stability. You can use it as a placeholder. It's a laminated card of a scissor advertisement, and it has the vintage paper on the back. Every journal will include that. And like I said, a variety of clips will be included. So there are 32 specific pages or spots for your listing your WIP, along with, like I said, some blank pages. And I'm not going to show every single page, but different pages have a variety of, can you tell I'm a scissor freak? Because mostly it's scissors, but here's a thimble. And then the back page looks like this. You could put something over that if you wish. So those are the stitching journals. They are going to be $25 on my Facebook page, plus shipping and handling, whatever I find out from the post office that will be. another one. And again, this one has the white as the page for the pages, but basically the same throughout. It's got clips, the pencil board, and it looks exactly the same apart from the color of the paper. And again, each one comes with, this current design has a clip to close it, and the clip has some type of charm on it. The charms will vary. So let me show you, okay, this, and again, these pictures will be, photographed and put on my Facebook page. I'll just show you a few of the designs. And I tried to do things that weren't necessarily my style, but were nice styles. And, you know, these are just the ones that were left over from the retreat. I will be making more in a variety of design, you know, colors and combinations. I can't remember who, but someone mentioned that they bought more than one at retreat, and they were going to use one simply for their samplers and one for something else. But you could, you know, you could use it for knitting, for crocheting, any type of stitching method that you wanted. And another. I love this paper. And okay, so that is item number 1 that will be on my Facebook page. Item number 2 is something that I kind of made at the 11th hour, and I almost didn't take them to retreat. But, because I thought, nah, nobody would want this. I left the retreat with only 3. And I was shocked. I mean, everybody loved them. Well, okay. A lot of people love them. I'm going to show you my prototypes. Well, no, I'm going to show you 2 that I made for someone who had a request at the retreat. She saw them. She walked away for a minute, came back to get them, and somebody else had picked them up and bought them. They're called thread books. This is what they look like. That's the front. That's the back of this particular design. Again, like the journals, there will be a variety of designs. This is what it looks like on the inside. Okay, I'm going to show you. I did some prototypes. So these particular ones are not for sale, but there may be some listed like this on the Facebook page. I think this was my very first one, my prototype. And it just has a plain backing and the same inside paper design as what's on the back. It's got the loose binder rings. It comes with 2 library cards that you can use in a variety of ways. I just listed, this is from Stacy Nash House on Pumpkin Hill. I listed the thread colors. what you could do is also write the symbols here, and then it comes with 10 floss away bags. Now, this particular one, this is not a good one to show you. I'll show you on this. So it comes with 2 library cards, front and back. You can list your, author, who the designer is, the title of the piece, and then list your threads out here and put either the numbers here or the symbols. And then you get 10 floss away bags that have a paper divider between them. So you can put as many as 20 skeins of floss, bobbins of floss, whatever, however you do your floss in this, because you can put one in the front and one behind the paper piece, and then list those on the library card. I am cheap, so I list mine, I write in pencil. That way, when I'm done, and I write lightly, I can erase and reuse. But if you want to write them, if it's a long-term project, like a Heaven and Earth, or, well, okay, this probably wouldn't work for Heaven and Earth because, as we know, too many colors to fit in here. But you could write it in pen and then just discard this when you're done. I will have extra library cards available for purchase as and when needed. I wanted to show you this one. This was also a prototype. This houses my flosses, which are wildflowers for my summer sampler. So the binder rings will accommodate quite a few, and probably a few more if you don't mind it kind of flopping open a little bit. Or it will house as few as, 4 colors, which is what House on Pumpkin Hill only had 4 flosses in it. So it houses that. Here's another one that a prototype. And there will be, these 4 are not for sale at the moment because they're my personal ones, and they were prototypes for me to figure out how I wanted to make them, right? But there most likely will be some with similar or exact paper on them on my Facebook page. I will show you, I have a couple, and they can be oriented portrait or landscape. Works the same either way. Okay, so these 2 will be available. Here's another version, portrait. Again, so this is what it looks like when you get it. And the back. And here's a landscape. And the inside. Now, obviously with the landscape, you're going to have to turn it this way to write in it, but the cover is landscape. And with the floss away bags. These are $10 plus shipping. And I will ship anywhere in the world, but for out of the United States, it will be actual shipping. Just like, I'm going to try to sort out, like, I know the post office here in the US has a variety of ways to ship priority. So I'm going to check and see what the most cost effective for you guys would be in shipping 1 or 2 or 3 and charge you that way. But that's going to take me a minute to get that sorted out, getting to the post office and finding all that information out. So if you're interested, just let me remind you that about the Facebook page, the Primitive Stitcher, and look, you know, in the next week or so, I will try to get this taken care of and up, you know, photos taken. I have more of these in progress right now, more of a variety of covers for these in progress right now. It takes a minute. They are all handmade by me. Little old me, one person show. So there will be several on the Facebook page, and it'll be an ongoing thing, you know, so you'll have to check back frequently to see what's new on there. So keep watching for that. And I think that's it. I think that's it for today. If you have any questions, as always, you know, write a comment below. I appreciate the comments. If it's a specific question, I will answer it right away. If it's just one of your lovely comments, which I too appreciate, I most likely at this point in my life will just give you a heart and let you know that I did read it and that I appreciate your comments. But right now in my life, I am having a difficult time keeping up with commenting back on everyone. But I do appreciate them all, and I read them all. I just need better time management, I think, or I need to make a clone of myself. All right, well, again, I think that's all. But I'm sure I'm forgetting something. We are over an hour, and I'm sorry for that. But thank you all for watching. I hope that this autumn is being kind to you, and you're getting lots of stitching completed. And I hopefully will be back sooner for the next video, and it won't be so long in between. Thank you for visiting. Until next time, friends, happy stitching.